I wanted to introduce our first Ignite speaker, Wael. He's a chief tech officer for North Scientific, and he likes working on robots, which he's going to use to take over the world. So please, if you know him, make sure he doesn't do anything evil, because the Terminator movies are not selling well. So here he is.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Wael. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of North Scientific. And today's Ignite is about automating the development lifecycle beyond DevOps. So most companies currently use DevOps tools in order to automate their existing processes, which are inefficient by nature. And that doesn't yield the results that they actually require. So you don't have that superposed multi-X performance boost that you're looking for. And you have to really look into that process and how to optimize it before that tools can help. And so understanding the impact of your microprocesses in your sprint planning process is extremely important. Specifically, these microprocesses are common between you and other companies, which are of similar industries or different industries. There are some which are unique to you, but for those that are common, you can always look into them in terms of, can I adopt it as it is, or do I have to reinvent it? In most cases, you don't have to reinvent, you can adopt. An example of that is like GCP's AI machine learning end-to-end development cycle. So this contains something which has been optimized by engineers, all the tools required, all the documentation, all the training courses. Similar solutions exist for AWS and Azure. And so if I'm implementing that, I don't have to reinvent it. I just can use it as it is. And of course, for our existing custom internal processes, which are unique for our own organization, we have to look at how do we review it, optimize it, and then integrate quality assurance metrics in order to make it better and faster over time. And so once you do that, you're actually reducing underdefined tasks or tickets in your normal sprint, because each microprocess consists of subtasks, which are now very well defined and, in theory, very well documented. And so the next very important element in the queue is really understanding the impact of having documentation in a useful state. So if you just generate documentation for the sake of documentation, you're going to be stuck in a position whereby they're going to become either obsolete or too heavy to read in order for that process to be efficient. And so you have to really update and refine your knowledge base, specifically into how that microprocess has been optimized over time, so that when you assign that task, which is repeatable for your different clients or your different projects, it becomes easy to execute because all of the steps are already documented. And documentation by themselves have to follow certain market guidelines. If you do documentation with a general template, then after some time, it's going to become unreadable. And so if you're following a structured approach, then those documentation for different projects will all have the same approach. Now, advanced things to consider. Of course, as your project is running, you want to basically look at how do I establish metrics and indicators that ensure that my performance is actually equal or superior to other competitors in the market. And so that really comes in by understanding how your tasks first can be clustered together. So what tasks go best in the same sprint? If I'm repeating the same processes over and over, there are certain tasks with multiple processes that can actually superpose at the same amount of time, which allows you to burn the maximum amount of units. Now, some of the tools that you can use are like Excel, or in a little bit more advanced cases like TensorBoard, if you're using some AI clustering. And so you'll have the ability to understand which tasks can go best together and which tasks have the highest impact on your bottom line. Now, last step, of course, is technology adoption. No framework lives forever. And so here, as your project grows, as your requirements grow, you're going to be adopting new components and new supporting technologies into your general technology stack. And what's important there is really understanding which technologies you should maintain and which technologies not to maintain. From an executive perspective, you look at things like Gartner report or similar in the market that can show you, based on your indicators, what technology should you adopt, what technology should you phase out, and what's the impact for what you're looking for. Now, knowledge to empower your process is very important. Most implementations for new technologies like Kafka, RabbitMQ, TensorFlow, MXNet basically utilize a method whereby an engineer learns on the job. The problem with that is that a lot of the technical capability that unlocks your technology is hidden away. And so as a company, we have to invest in critical component training. So after you pick your process, which is common with others in the market, there are courses which already exist that can empower your engineer to be able to have the same capability as the market standard. Again, in this case, we're looking at something from QWiki Labs for Coursera, for GCP, whereby this initializes your AI engineer to be at a specific entry level to be able to use their tool set or their existing process. And of course, the main conclusion of this talk is that DevOps tools are important, of course, but if there's an underlying flow in your process, they're not going to help a lot. Multi-X returns are only achieved when you refine your microprocesses, and knowledge is really power. And so understanding where to source that knowledge is very important. That's about it. So thanks a lot again for listening.
Let's hear it for Wael. Check, check. Let's hear it for Wael. Thank you. And here's some chocolates for you.
Thank you.